Okay, take 5. I'm going to speak very briefly and clearly, I hope, and get straight to the point about how I've been not really trialing, because it's now really pretty much now embedded, but some of the staff in supported learning have been trialing some of the Google software, but really it's not really trialing it now. We're pretty much in full swing now, and we're starting to see the benefits of what we can do with it. And like with all tools, when they first come out, we don't often know how to use them properly and embed them, and we're just about getting to grips with that. And I think what's happened, particularly last year when we started it, and this year, particularly with the students they have their own Gmail account, so they've been pretty much running with it in a very spontaneous fashion, and it's not being scripted in any way. So what I was going to focus on was the instant chat facility, which isn't anything necessarily revolutionary, but it has captured a lot of the students' imaginations with two completely separate groups. But one thing they had in common was they're all young learners, so they really take to that kind of style of, shall we say, activity or learning. And now the challenge is to try to, having observed it from the side, is to try and incorporate it into some formal teaching. And so to that end, I've thought about how we can embed, if you like, English, written English lessons or instruction into this very free-flowing form of communication. And I think it's the immediacy that really appeals to the students. So without putting them off, I'm hoping that, I've started to look at ways of expanding their written English, because obviously not necessarily their strongest point with a lot of the students. They're about entry 1 or entry 2, and it seems to be a perfect forum to try to expand their written knowledge. And so to that end, we've been looking at questions like who, what, when, why. Who, what, why, when, where, and how, and those sort of kind of media type questions, to try to encourage a wider vocabulary, of a written vocabulary. Yeah. And so by getting students to ask each other questions, which they do anyway, but in a more kind of more sort of in a wider sense, and to expand their range, I suppose, really. So that's what I'm trialing at the moment, and I think if I could just make a general point, which is that what's exciting a lot of the tutors is the collaborative element of the software. So with the instant chat, you can obviously have lots of people involved, and that's great. And again, to try to incorporate that into the classroom is interesting. But again, it needs to kind of go beyond the novelty element. Just looking at my notes here. So the collaborative element also, I mean, in the future I'm going to be hopeful, and I'm a bit behind, but some of my colleagues at Southall and in Acton are already doing collaborative elements with the Prezi software. But obviously we mustn't forget Google Drive and the Google Docs. There's a collaborative element to it. So we'll be hopefully, that's the exciting part, is that we can get students working on the same document maybe, and then contributing to, like a patchwork scenario. So we're going to somehow incorporate that into an educational outcome as well, which I'm sure we can do. But again, things are still emerging, and we'll continue to work on them and report back as we go along. Thanks. Cheers.